and welcome to the Nature Codes podcast. I'm Amira Daly, an energy healer and mentor. I deliver inspirational tips and shares on how to welcome nature into your life to inspire transformation. I will share with you guidance, tips, and interviews to nurture that special bond between you, the universe, and nature. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Nature Codes. I'm so glad you could be here today. Today is a really interesting episode looking into astrology and all of the interesting things you can gain from understanding your astrology better. It can really be a springboard for you to understand yourself so much better than you had before. It's a really important and fascinating tool we all have access to, which can help us understand ourselves, our lives, and our purpose so much better. I have been looking into this really keenly recently, and it has really allowed me to help me to understand a lot more about myself, which has in turn allowed me to release any blocks that I have and start to unleash my inner superpowers and my wisdom a lot more to a greater degree. If it's done in the right way, astrology has the power to make sense of the world and our place within it. It can show us the path, our light, our talent, our inner wounds, and where we are supposed to be taking our lives into the future. And as you can see, this is such an exciting avenue, something that I'm really keen to explore and understand a lot more. Astrology isn't just your star sign. So we've all heard of your star sign, your birth sign, but actually this is a tiny proportion of what we are meant to be studying to understand ourselves. Your sunshine your star sign is actually your sun sign, which is what I was trying to say. Your sun sign is a tiny percentage of your overall understanding of yourself. Essentially what the sun sign is where the sun in the sky was at the time of your birth and what sign it was in. We all know the 12 major signs: Leo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Libra, to name but a few. And these are constellations in the sky. So there are 12 major constellations. When you were born, certain planets and the sun and the moon were all in certain signs in the sky. So your sun sign is essentially where the sun was. Say you're a Libra, that would mean that the sun was in the Libra constellation. So that's effectively what your sun sign is. The sun sign is very outward facing, so it's what other people perceive you to be. It's the very outward facing part of your personality. It encompasses the traits that other people see within you. That is the most obvious. That's why it's such a famous part of pop astrology. However, this is not the full you. Don't go down this idea of looking in a magazine and looking at your sun sign for the week and thinking that is truth, because that is totally not. That is media, pop, the very surface level entertainment industry that unfortunately spreads the feeling of it not being true, when actually it is deeply rooted in ancient philosophy and ancient astrology, and it is far more complicated than you can see in the spread of a magazine. Sadly, a lot of these are infiltrated by people who do not know. They are not astrologists. They're probably, I'm not saying all of it is, but a lot of it is probably made up. What you really want to be looking out for is the people that are qualified to write in these magazines, the qualified astrologists who know what they're talking about. Don't just put all their focus on a weekly horoscope for the sun sign, because the likelihood of that being accurate is pretty low. So as I've mentioned, astrology isn't just about your star sign. That is a tiny percentage of your overall being. So what is part of you is also your moon sign, your rising sign, your descendant. Your descendant is where the planets were setting at the time of your birth, and the rising sign is where they were rising on the horizon at the time of your birth. The midheaven is what you would have seen above you if you could see the sky at the time of your birth. There are 12 houses, each with a different aspect and each having different planets, including planets. When we talk about planets, we're also talking about sun, moon, but we're also talking about Chiron and Lilith. Chiron is actually an asteroid, and Lilith is called the Black Moon Lilith. Lilith and Chiron are pretty interesting because these show your challenges in life and things that you're meant to overcome. They are the darker side of your life. However, if you overcome these aspects, they actually turn into part of your superpower and what you're meant to be helping society shift out of and into. So Lilith in astrology is known as the Black Moon Lilith. It's a mathematical point representing the moon's furthest point from the Earth in its orbit. It's often interpreted as the shadow or the taboo part of yourself, associated with hidden desires, power, rebellion. And so you can kind of see that is where you might have your darker nature. You're meant to be shining a light on that to move your soul into the light. Also uncovering things in society which aren't supposed to be in our future, therefore evolving societies, communities, families into better things. The other aspect of this challenge area is Chiron, which I've said is an asteroid. In astrology, Chiron's often called the wounded healer. This represents a place of deep, often hidden pain and potential for profound healing and growth. So if you look at your Chiron, you can kind of understand your struggles again. And this is an area where you're meant to grow, develop, and eventually in this lifetime move from the darkness into the light in a certain area. So we've looked at your shadow self. Now I want to have a look a little bit let you know about where you can find your passion and your fire and what really fuels your personality. So you want to be looking at where Mars is in your charts, which house it's in, which sign it's in. You also want to be looking at which houses are the most busy, because this is often where all of your energy will be focused. You just want to understand a little bit more about the depth of where the various planets are that are important to you. So for instance, sorry, that was a cow mooing. As you know, I'm on a farm, so you might have those kinds of sounds. So yeah, say for example, you have Venus, for instance. Venus is the planet of relationships and family. And if you are lucky enough to have it in your 4th house, this really shows a massive amount of energy that goes into your home and your family, and you're supposed to show great love force energy for your family. You have a deeply strong attachment to home and a great desire for loving and peaceful home life, maybe a tendency for nurturing and caregiving within your family. So that's just an example of a planet being in a house and how you can kind of interpret that. Another aspect that is quite nice to look at are the lunar nodes. These show the direction you will take in your lifetime. It will show you where you've come from and where you're supposed to be moving towards. So that's a really nice thing to look at as well. And I just want to talk a bit more about the personal planets, because these are the ones that are very personal to you. The personal planets are the more fast-moving planets. So these are very different for each and every person that was born in your year and your generation. They move so quickly that within a few hours, if you were born, say if you're born on the same day, same month, same year as someone, if you're born like an hour or even a few minutes later, you could have completely different personal planets. This is another idea that we see in society where people think, if you're born on the same day, same hour, if you're a twin born in the, are you going to have the same personality, the same life path? No, it's not as simple as that. These personal planets move very quickly, and obviously, even if you're born near someone on the same day, it also depends on where you're born as well, obviously. So if you're born in the same hospital, then you might have very similar attributes to someone. But if you were born, say if you're born in London and someone else was born in Australia, the sky will be completely different. So the sky where you were born, when you were born, is like a unique fingerprint to you. So your personal planets will show you a bit more about your personality, your core personality, and you just need to look at those in a bit of detail. Your personal planets are the Sun and the Moon, which are known as the luminaries, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and these planets show the core of your personality. Then we've got the social planets, which are a bit more slow moving, and these are the last of the two planets that we can see with the naked eye. These social planets are Saturn and Jupiter. So these are planets that people born at similar times will have in common, and these are meant to help shift society within that time period. So anyone born within a certain amount of time will have a focus within Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter are a social planet. The transpersonal planets, which are those that are extremely far away and slow moving, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, these are the rulers of generations. So these have the ability to really shift society, because people born in the same generations will have similarities within these three planets. And so you can quickly see just how deep astrology is, and I'm just scratching the surface. There is so much more to it than just what I have spoken about now. And that is why it's so important for us to really understand that the sun sign is not the be-all and end-all of astrology. And anybody who is predicting anything or about someone just using their star sign probably isn't the best source for information. We can see also that each planet has a specific personality. When we're talking about planets, again, just to recap, we're not just talking about Venus, Mars, etc. We're also in astrology including the sun and the moon. The sun is the confidence, the heart, the life force energy, the authority, creativity, power, ego, vitality, to name but a few. And then if we look at, say, the moon, we can look at nurturing, safety, security, being a mother, the tides, obviously, belonging, nourishment. And then if we look at something like Neptune, we're looking at magic, film, myth, glamour, illusion, escapism, deception. Jupiter, expansion, growth, hope, philosophy, long travel. There's so many different aspects to each planet, and so you can just all see there even just how complicated astrology is and how in-depth it can be. So say if we have Neptune in Pisces, we can say that they are highly imaginative, dreamy, sensitive, psychic. They have tendencies towards dark magic, healing, and psychic work. They can lose themselves in other people. Their boundaries are blurred. And some examples of these kinds of people, good or bad, are Michael Jackson, Adolf Hitler, J.K. Rowling. In J.K. Rowling, you can really see how she's used her imagination and she's looking into dark magic and light magic, and she's like going into the depths of that kind of realm. So you can see where her expression of Neptune and Pisces comes out. I'm not going to go into Michael Jackson or Adolf Hitler. I think people can draw their own conclusions on those. And so you can kind of see where the interest lies. It's like such a deep subject, and I just love delving into it, and it's just such a deep interest of mine. I remember when I was younger, I was really fascinated by my mum's book. She had a book on astrology, and I to this day remember that book, and I just feel like that was like a guiding light. Like whenever I think of that book, I think how I was so in awe of it, and it really got into the core of my being. And the fact that I still remember that one book, I was like from 5 years old, and now I'm in my 40s, feels like I was meant to go down this path, and that this is something that I have a deep interest in. It's just really interesting how your soul remembers things from your childhood. There's some things that your soul won't remember, but I think the key important things that you remember from your childhood are the things that might be important to you in later life. We can even understand the weekdays a little bit more from astrology as well. So Monday is associated with the moon, so this is the best day to reflect on our intentions. Tuesday is Mars, so this is very direct action, starting projects. Wednesday is Mercury, and that is communicating, short travel, learning. Thursday is Jupiter, which is abundance, expanding towards our goals, gratitude and growth. Friday is Venus, so that's sociability, love, family, kindness. Saturday is Saturn, which is why I think maybe we've got our weekends wrong, because Saturn is very boundaries, it's chores, it's tying up loose ends, it can be quite a harsh energy. And Sunday is known as a day of rest, it's inner reflection, illuminating and radiating, because it is ruled by the sun. So as you can see, I've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to learn, and I'm just so loving delving deeply into this. Really hoping that this kind of shifts your knowledge around astrology and draws you a bit closer to it, reminds us that just scratching the surface of it through the media and the tabloids is probably not what we should be basing our astrology knowledge on. So much deeper, and there's so much ancient wisdom in it. And so with this episode, I'd like to announce that I am taking bookings for doing birth chart analysis. So if there's any areas of your life that you need to understand a bit more, or even as a gift to someone else so that they can understand themselves, I can be booked to do this, and I'll send you a report of all of the aspects and where the planets were, and interpret it for you so you can understand maybe your soul purpose a bit more, your personality, where your challenges lie and why they're there, and how you can overcome them. So yeah, it's a really exciting tool that I would like to share with you. You can find the link below this episode in the show notes, but also I'll be putting it on my Instagram at the Nature Codes. So yeah, very excited to be sharing this with you today. I've been preparing this for many months now, and I'm very excited to be releasing this for all you lovely people. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe to the Nature Codes podcast so you never miss an episode. If you enjoy what I'm sharing, please rate and leave a review so that other nature lovers can find me too. And lastly, follow me on Instagram at the Nature Codes for more inspiring free content, as well as access to all of my programs.